At the edge of the grid, intelligence is the key to unlocking flexibility and resilience. From demand response to cybersecure connectivity, the grid edge is where prosumers become real market players.
This is Powering the Future, a podcast series brought to you by Smart Grid Forums. One planet, one power grid.
Joining us today is Ingo Schönberg, CEO of Power Plus Communications, and he's here to explore how interoperability, resilience, and real-time data are reshaping the future of the energy sector. Welcome, Ingo. Thank you so much for joining the podcast today.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. So, Ingo, before we dive into our conversation today, it would be great for our viewers to know a little bit about your role at PPC and your priorities there.
Of course. I'm the founder and one of, the guys who started with all the smart grid activities here within the PPC. So I'm the CEO of the company, and PPC is very much focused on smart grid activities. Let's say, of course, the German rollout is now our main focus today. And we are going really to the next level of smart grid solutions with broadband, with cybersecurity, so with everything which is required in a modern smart grid.
And there's a lot going on in Germany, as I understand it, Ingo, with a 500 billion euro investment in grid developments and digitization. Tell us a bit more about that and what sort of benefits and ROI are expected.
Of course, it's an important investment here in the German architecture, because as you probably know, we have now more than 60% of renewables in the energy grid. And this means, of course, that we need to bring some wind energy from the north to the south. And of course, we have to invest in the distribution networks, because with all the new PV generators and with all, let's say, the stuff which is coming from electromobility or heat pumps, of course, this is challenging the distribution networks. And for this, we are investing a lot in transportation grids and also in distribution networks in the German market.
You know, new trends in the sector are really taking off, aren't they? Trends such as prosumerism and e-mobility right across Europe, but particularly I think Germany is quite a hotspot for this. What sort of developments are required in the grid to really properly support these trends?
As we are very much focused now on renewables in the market, of course, we have the challenge of fluctuating energies. Yeah, the wind is blowing when it's blowing, the sun is not shining all the day. And so we have to balance between the generation and the demand. And this, of course, requires flexibilities. This requires electrification, yeah, because this is then a good option to have in the batteries of the cars, for example, the energy from which is coming in the middle from the sun, yeah, and so we can balance with all the things and makes this a flexible network. Of course, requires a digitalization, because without digitalization, you are not able to balance. Yeah, you need to know what is the consumption, you need to know what is the production, you have to balance between generation and load.
Well, what are some of the challenges around achieving that? You know, fully integrating prosumers into the grid and achieving that balance. Tell us about the challenges and also perhaps the solutions that you have on offer.
Because renewable energies are mainly decentral. And so you need to know what is happening on a decentral level. So you need to get the information out of the grid. This requires, on the one side, a real-time metering, yeah, which is not only generating data from the meters, yeah, which is also generating information, what is the situation in the network and what is the situation at the customer's premise. Yeah. And so when we have this information, yeah, and we can combine it, let's say, with the requirements of the network and the requirements of the markets, we can, let's say, by remote control, interact with the end customer and try to find a balance between the generation, the load, the network operation, and the markets. And this is a real challenge which cannot be, let's say, solved without having digitalization all over the network and having, let's say, a performant digitalization. And in the second, if you make digitalization part of the network operation, it's a critical infrastructure, and within a critical infrastructure, you need to have a high level of cybersecurity. Yeah. You know, in these days, with all the wars around the world, yeah, you need to have a solution which protects your network against external, let's say, hackers and other guys.
Absolutely. How are PPC's products being fully secured by design to guard against these evolving and unpredictable threats of the future?
Yeah, this is a corporate requirement we have here in the German market. From the very beginning on, we were focusing on a smart grid, not only metering only. So all the equipment which is used here in the German market can at the same time do the metering as well as a remote control. And by this, we are using a so-called smart meter gateway, which is a kind of an edge computing device sitting at the customer's premise, yeah, and get all the informations, but also enabling a remote control, and so that the market and the network can interact with the end customers and make them the customer, let's say, a participant of the energy transition. Yeah. And this is, let's say, these products, the smart meter gateways, all the communication stuff, all the things on the customer side, like energy management system, remote control devices. These are the products of PPC, and all of them are cyber secured. They are certified. So we are already, let's say, having a certification process on each individual device, which is, of course, fulfilling the Cyber Resilience Act on a European level and offering even a little bit more protection against cybersecurity than normal devices would have.
Well, that sounds very, very promising, Ingo. Thank you for highlighting those. We're looking forward to having you and your team on site at SGT26 in Paris next year. PPC is a gold sponsor. Delighted to have your support in that capacity. This means that you will be both speaking on the conference program during the Smart Meter track, also displaying in the exhibition area for the 3 days, and also participating as a judge for the Utility Awards ceremony. Give us a quick insight into some of the messages you'll be sharing at the conference and what utilities can expect to see from you in the exhibition.
Yeah, I think our key message will be that metering only is history. We require really a smart grid. And when you want to have a smart grid with all the interactions with decentralized, let's say, generators, with PVs, then, of course, you need to have a real-time approach. So narrow-banded communication solutions are history. We need to have broadband communication solutions. We need to have a high level of cybersecurity. And these three pillars, smart grid, cybersecurity, and broadband communication, will be the core of our exhibition.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to seeing you and the team from PPC at SGT26 next year. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining us and thanks for your
It
insights,
was a
Ingo.
pleasure for us.
You have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Join us again next week as we unpack another big topic shaping the future of the power grid. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Smart Grid Forums, and to follow us on LinkedIn. Until then, thanks for watching and listening.
This is Powering the Future, a podcast series brought to you by Smart Grid Forums. One planet, one power grid.